Shenzhen Tzu Chi volunteers host the winter aid distribution for sanitation workers and give out supply cards to them. Tzu Chi volunteers in Mexico make a home visit to provide medical care for a 7-year-old boy who has cerebral palsy. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. In China, Tzu Chi volunteers in Shenzhen has been holding winter aid distributions for sanitation workers since 2015. This year, the volunteers also gave out supply cards so that the sanitation workers can buy needed supplies.
For 3 consecutive years, Tzu Chi volunteers in Shenzhen have been holding winter aid distribution for sanitary workers. More than 10,000 households receive supplies in various places. Many enterprise employees use their holidays to serve those in need.
We need to care for our sanitation workers. They've worked hard to keep the city beautiful.
To deliver timely help, the volunteers distribute supply cards so the recipients can use them to buy heavy supplies at nearby supermarkets.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, all the officials, all the staff members for caring for us sanitation workers. We can make use of the soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, towel, and scarves.
With your care and help, many people who face difficulties in life can now overcome challenges with strength. This is very good.
All the volunteers from Tzu Chi Foundation and the suppliers have come here. I think it is very good. We mobilized about 70 to 80 people. The staff from the factory also volunteered. Look at these sanitation workers who have to get up at 2 a.m. to clean up the city. I got really tired by carrying the rice 3 times, not to mention they have to sweep the streets for a whole day. I think we should try to feel for them.
心情很高兴，做这个事，政府看得起我们，这是工人，有大米啊，给我们吃啊，用的啊，吃的啊，我们做这个啊，谢谢了了。
不管哪个环节都非常感动，你们的这个慈善心呐，确确实实各个部位都做到了。
Many volunteers left their homes at 3 o'clock in the morning, and dozens of them were carrying rice, oil, and other supplies here before 5 a.m. Actually, everyone must feel exhausted from serving like this. But when we see the smiles on the faces of the sanitation workers and how happy they are, despite our fatigue, I feel very satisfied. I think we have been really fortunate for the past few days.
觉得非常满足，我们觉得这几天都很幸福。
Despite the fatigue, the volunteers feel very joyful, seeing the smiles on the faces of the sanitation workers.
Tzu Chi also conducted the winter aid distribution in Yunnan province's Luquan. In addition to distributing winter clothing to local residents, volunteers also comforted them by giving them a chance to vent their emotions. What's special about the distribution is that the army and some businessmen have also come to help move the supplies. As the winter aid distribution in Kunming's Luquan, all of the residents living in this mountainous area have come with joy. To help aid recipients carry the supplies, the government has mobilized the militia to help. Many businessmen have also humbled themselves to join the efforts.
I saw many Tzu Chi brothers and sisters volunteer with happiness and joy. I also feel that I have the passion to do so. I feel very happy joining everyone to help with the distribution.
As the distribution, volunteers not only provide supplies for local residents, but also give them love and warmth. Many children are waiting aside at the distribution site. Among them is this 9-year-old boy who is very naughty. This has led the Tzu Chi volunteer to act as a temporary babysitter.
你刚刚吃橘子的皮，可不可以乱丢？不可以。好，丢哪里？阿姨刚刚教你丢哪里？垃圾桶。
The boy's grandmother is shedding tears as she doesn't know how to get by with her 2 grandchildren without subsidies after her husband suddenly passed away last year.
My husband has passed away and I have been diagnosed with cancer.
The life of Mrs. Wang is the epitome of most people's life in Luquen's mountainous areas. After making a visit to the remote village and walking through several alleys, the volunteers have finally arrived at Tian Yingfu's home. A few years ago, Tian injured his spine in a car accident. After doing rehab, he is now able to walk, but he can no longer do heavy work.
靠什么生活？
靠就是打工种地，打的领导2年一个他们就那些现在比赛。
Mr. Tian's wife has left home, leaving 2 sons behind. Tian has relied on government subsidies to build a new house. He feels very happy about Tzu Chi's winter distribution and hopes to reunite with his family once again after his new house is built. As the Lunar New Year is approaching, many people in Taiwan may start to clean their homes. However, this may not be an easy task for the underprivileged people, such as solitary seniors and those who have mobility problems. To allow them to enjoy a better New Year, students from Chaoyang University of Technology went into the community to help disadvantaged elderly people clean the environment. Meanwhile, 30 Tzu Chi volunteers in Tainan also mobilized to help a senior clean her home. In Tainan, Taiwan, 30 Tzu Chi volunteers have mobilized to clean the home where an 87-year-old senior lives with her son. In addition to clearing out the items from the fridge, volunteers also scrape the thick grease in the kitchen.
I sympathize with them since they have to live in such an environment. I do what I can to help them clean up their home, giving them a comfortable environment.
The senior will pile up the items she has collected from outside at home, leading environments to be cluttered. 30 volunteers in Tainan have therefore mobilized to clean her home. Among them is a college student who came with his mother to help out.
I went with my mother to assist in prayer services. I also went to the recycling station. I think it's important for my mother to exercise more frequently.
After several bags of trash have been cleared out, the environment of the home has finally been restored to be clean. Also about the cleanup activity, but the volunteers are college students. More than 100 students from Chaoyang University of Technology have divided into 2 groups to help disadvantaged elderly people in the community clean their environment. As this grandmother is old and she has mobility issues, she feels moved when seeing these college students helping her clean her home.
I'm very grateful. Even though they have to spend a lot of money studying in college, they still came to help me clean the environment. I feel for them.
It's much like returning to our seniors' home to help them clean the environment. The grandma is very passionate as she asks us whether we needed water to drink.
Mr. Wang, who makes a living by recycling, has piled up many items in his home, the students carefully helping clean the environment.
Through the cleanup activity, we can understand the seniors' health and living conditions.
Students from the departments of social work at this university may go into the community at the end of each year to help solitary seniors clean their homes. During the process of giving, feeling the joy of the elders is their greatest reward. Taiwan's higher education may be facing a crisis due to fewer students as well as more students going abroad, as this figure has increased 1.6 times. Hong Kong has a number of universities that are actively seeking Taiwan students by offering scholarships. Many are attracted to Hong Kong because it is close to Taiwan, and international rankings of many universities there have improved.
This solemn event is the ceremony of Confucius, which is being held in Taipei. It not only carries on the spirit of Confucius, but also shows respect to teachers. The event also attracts a number of foreign students, making it more international.
Last year, I wanted to come, but there was a typhoon, so it was canceled, which was a pity, so I definitely wanted to come this year.
And I'm very, very happy that I could come here and see these ceremonies, and I could actually feel myself back in time when these were done in front of the emperors or olden times.
According to the statistics released by the Ministry of Education, there are over 110,000 foreign students coming to Taiwan for study abroad or short-term study in the last academic year. However, while Taiwan is open to these students, local students prefer to go overseas for their education. According to data from 2011 and 2015, the number of Taiwanese high school graduates studying abroad has almost doubled. Among the possible locations, Hong Kong is not far from Taiwan, and its international nature attracts many students to go and study. City University of Hong Kong Business School freshman Hu Xianghong is a graduate from Taipei's Zhenguo High School and received a score of 68 on college entrance exams, letting him to get into NTU's business department, though he still chose to study in Hong Kong.
As for Hong Kong, I think the feeling for high school students in Taiwan is the first thing that we look at is the university ranking. As a city university of Hong Kong, it's regarded as the fourth of the fifth best. And when it comes to the business school, it is actually ranked higher than that of NTU.
His father actually was a professor at Tainan's NCKU and supports his son's decision. Although Hong Kong is a densely populated island with high housing prices, it is much more international than Taiwan.
Everyone moves quickly and it may be unfriendly, but when I'm young, I should try to use this opportunity and move as fast as they do and not waste any time. Also, I think it's important to expose myself to the fully English-speaking environment.
Like this student, another 110 Taiwanese students went to Hong Kong to attend university, all of whom attended top high schools and were carefully chosen by Hong Kong schools. Hong Kong universities are actively recruiting Taiwan students, holding information sessions, attracting some 300 people listening to every word.
I hope that my child can gain more of an international perspective, looking beyond Taiwan and potentially compete with other international talent.
Hong Kong universities rented this 5-star conference room to be a venue for interviews.
Of course, it's all in English. I have to introduce yourself from the very beginning, and then the professor asks you 1 or 2 questions based on your self-introduction. Then they ask you why you want to study in this department. In a group discussion, they test your ability working together.
Before knowing the results, these students are emotionally tense as they hope they can have the chance to study in Hong Kong. In order to attract top students, Hong Kong universities attend education fairs, even using overseas Taiwanese students to represent them to compete against some 100 universities in Taiwan to attract top students.
Next semester, I'll go to a local school to conduct an internship. I hope this provides more opportunities for me.
Hong Kong is relatively close. I was originally going to business school, and I think that Hong Kong is actually a commercial capital and is close to China. It attracts those who want a more international perspective and more opportunities than Taiwan.
In addition, some of these schools offer attractive scholarships for 4 years to entice top students. However, each school has only 30 to 40 spaces for Taiwan students.
For us, coming to Taiwan is not a source of income, as we want to recruit excellent students. We don't have many spaces over the past few years. They probably need an entrance exam score of 71 to gain admission.
Many students hope going to Hong Kong can help improve their competitiveness, though admission to these universities is not easy. However, back in Taiwan with higher university acceptance rates, there's a distinct possibility that the value of domestic degrees has eroded and may become worthless.
Tzu Chi in Mexico hosted an ad distribution and a free clinic at the same time. Amongst the many patients they serve is a 7-year-old boy who has cerebral palsy. His family has little money for his care. A doctor from Taiwan learned that the boy lacks nutrition and care as he traveled to his house to provide him with medical treatment.
And I make the promise that we will arrange all these things.
The doctor kept the promise he made during the free clinic and came to the patient's home. The 7-year-old little Jesus is smiling when he sees the camera filming, but it's obviously that his arm and legs are very stiff.
He was born with cerebral palsy. You can see it obviously from his muscle flexibility. Don't judge him from his movements. His mental ability is normal, but just can't communicate. It's like a soul being trapped in the body.
Little Jesus has some stomach illness since born and has undergone many surgeries. His brain was lacking oxygen during one of the surgeries, leading him to have the health condition right now.
When he was born, he went to the emergency room for 6 surgeries, and his breath stopped for 5 times. It's really a miracle that he can survive. So when he's baptized, we name him Little Jesus.
Tiene 6 cirugías y 5 paros respiratorios en estos 7 años de vida.
Warming up the milk and sometimes adding crumbled cookies or vegetables, little Jesus requires all-day care because he can only eat from the stoma on the stomach. His father is the only financial sources in the family, shouldering a heavy pressure.
I do all kinds of jobs, but they are all unstable part-time jobs. It's very hard to take care of the child, but if God brought him into our life, then we are a family. Maybe one day God will take him away, but before that, we will do all that we can to keep his life going.
Little Jesus' father only earns about 1,500 pesos a month, and the expense for milk powder exceeds 500 a month, hence leaving the family in bad financial condition. He is grateful that Tzu Chi gives aid supplies to help, and he used all the funds to buy Little Jesus medications and daily supplies.
His kidney and stomach functions are fine, but he needs more nutrition and water for his body. If in the future our local volunteers can come to give him more care and love, I believe this will be a big help to the medical treatments.
The only wish for little Jesus' parents is that he can attend school healthily and well. This might be a simple thing for many people, but it is a dream they don't dare to dream for this family. The volunteers hope that their visits can bring strength and confidence for this family.
In Sri Lanka, the Hambantota government has donated a piece of land to Tzu Chi. However, since the land is barren, local Tzu Chi volunteers have failed in planting fruits and vegetables there. Then Tzu Chi volunteers from Singapore suggested that plant coconut trees, which are higher in economic value. Now the local volunteers are doing their best planting coconut trees, hoping that the income made after harvesting can fund Tzu Chi's charity mission.
With the weeds and prickly shrubs, this is a piece of land that the Hambantota government has donated to Tzu Chi. In the past, the volunteers tried to plant vegetables and fruits many times in vain. In August of 2015, Tzu Chi volunteers from Singapore came and suggested that the volunteers plant coconut trees, which have high economic values. After planting 100 coconut saplings, there's still much work to be done. Since the soil is barren, the volunteers must carry out natural farming techniques to enrich the soil, including burying coconut fiber around the saplings.
I do my best cultivating this piece of land. I water the plants and get rid of the prickly shrubs. I also add fertilizer to the soil. I think these are just my responsibilities as a volunteer.
It takes an average of 5 to 6 years for coconut trees to mature. The price of coconuts has doubled in Sri Lanka. The volunteers hope that in the future, the income made from growing coconut trees can fund Tzu Chi's charity mission, helping families in need.
After the tsunami of South Asia in 2004, Tzu Chi stepped in to help Sri Lanka and has been providing aid ever since. For more than a decade, visits have been conducted to poor households, and volunteers have enacted community services. Also, the second Saturday of every month is when everyone comes to classify recycling materials, with proceeds going to help families in need.
On this Saturday each month, a group of volunteers gather in the Tzu Chi office in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This is the day when they sort recycling, as volunteers come together to sort all of the materials and paper products. Volunteers are very careful in their work and unfold papers so that they can be easily processed. The volunteer is processing a large bag of recyclables, which are commercially used spray paint bottles. In the past, they were simply discarded as trash. Though volunteers learn they could be recycled, though the air must be let out. After all the recycling is sorted, volunteers assemble to listen to Master Zheng Yan, who expresses her concern about protecting the earth as this concept continued to spread in Sri Lanka.
In Taichung, Taiwan, 76-year-old Xue Liu Guizhi has been doing recycling for more than 20 years, and she always wants to give back to the society. Upon learning that the city needs Fukan buses, or buses for the disabled, she has donated a Fukan bus to the Bureau of Social Welfare. She even said that she plans to donate another one. Here is more.
Doing recycling for more than 20 years, Xue Liu Guizhi has realized her dream of donating a Fukan bus or a bus for the disabled.
Since I decided to donate this bus, I have felt great. Especially when I wired the money, I feel that I'm giving back to the society, which is important.
Xue Liu Guizhi is 76 years old and her husband is 91 years old. The two of them lead a very frugal life. They said that being content makes one happy.
Although we do not have much money, when she told me she wanted to donate the bus for the disabled, I replied, "That is very good. It's helping the society."
She originally wanted to donate an ambulance, but she learned that they need buses for the disabled. She has donated one bus in her son's name and planned to donate another one.
She has this kind intention. All the borough residents and even people in all of the Taichung city should give her a round of applause.
According to the Bureau of Social Welfare, up till the end of last year, Taichung City's Fukan buses have served more than 45,000 disabled residents, making nearly 760,000 trips. Hopefully, more people will be willing to donate buses for the disabled so the physically challenged people can feel the convenience of traveling.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Australia and Sri Lanka promoted vegetarianism by inviting community residents to taste vegetarian foods at the Tzu Chi office. In addition, volunteers also explained to the participants the positive impacts a meatless diet can bring to the earth. We will leave you with these images. Goodbye!